to Mondays with Mickey. I'm your host, Mike Knigge, and I'd like to welcome you back to the show. This week we're going to talk about packing tips. Things you take with you or wouldn't take with you to Disney World. Things you definitely don't want to buy at Disney World. And really for any other vacation destination for that matter. Things like Orlando, or even if you're like going to Vegas or something of that nature. Same kind of things that you want to make sure you carry or not carry. Before we get into that, though, we're going to talk about a few pieces of news in the Walt Disney World arena and Disney in general. Starting off with Star Wars. For those Star Wars fans, this past week it was officially confirmed that there will be a Han Solo standalone film. For those who are big Star Wars fans and have been following, Disney taking over ownership of Star Wars and Lucasfilm, many have already heard the rumors of this coming. So it's not really a huge surprise. In fact, this announcement isn't really a surprise either because, again, everyone kind of knew it was coming, but now it's official. They officially announced it this past week that it will be happening. Another thing that they announced this week, with all the changes in the reimagineering of Hollywood studios, the last couple of years it keeps getting brought up that possibly the Osborne spectacle of dancing lights might be going away. It's been kind of a hot topic because it's a huge light show at Hollywood Studios. It's a huge holiday draw. A lot of people absolutely adore it. If you've never seen it, I'd say either get there and go check it out, or maybe pull up a video on YouTube or something of that nature to check it out. It's really pretty cool, especially if you love Christmas lights. But the announcement was made that yes, it will be returning this year for Hollywood Studios. So for fans of the show, congratulations, you got at least one more year, all right? I cannot promise what's going to happen once the reimagining really starts digging in and making changes. We should know more about that schedule at D23, hopefully. Hopefully they'll make more announcements then. That's usually when they make their biggest announcements for the year. Another thing for Hollywood Studios is there's a new photo op opportunity. At the Great Movie Ride, they've created a couple areas where you can go and get special pictures taken. Either you putting your hands into the cement like you're a movie star or walking down the red carpet. It's a new place where you can get a photo pass photographer to take pictures. It's just an opportunity to do something really cool. On that note, on last week's episode, one of the things I failed to mention, and I realized it after the fact, and I was like, no! Was if you get with a photo pass photographer and you want to get pictures taken, you can ask them for a magical image. And what they'll do is they'll pose you in a certain way and then superimpose Disney characters in doing funny things. Like you might put your hand up and Tinkerbell might be sitting on it, or Stitch might be like licking you, or something of that craziness. So it's always an option if you want, if you're having a photo pass photographer, and that will only work. That won't work with your cameras because they're not going to edit them into your cameras. But if you're using the services like Memory Maker or a photo pass, you can ask them and say, hey, look, I'd like to do a magical image. And that's an option you can do. I know it's a tangent, but since we're talking about pictures for a second, I figured I'd bring it up. Another thing for those coffee addicts out there, Starbucks addicts, Starbucks has officially opened over Animal Kingdom. So, slowly but surely, they're putting more Starbucks throughout the parks. It's a relationship that seems to be going really, really well with Disney and Starbucks. So, for those who need that caffeine jump in the morning before you hit the safari, go ahead and head on over to Starbucks. They'll get you taken care of. So, on to packing. There's a lot dealing with packing. There are people that their career is packing. So I'm not going to touch on everything in this. There's just no humanly way to touch on everything. But I'm going to touch on a lot of big points, and if you have questions after it, feel free to leave it in the comments, send me an email or anything of that nature. I'll be happy to answer questions, and if there's something I just don't have an answer for, I can find somebody who does. So starting off, suitcases. You see there's really two major types. You got your soft bags and your hard bags. Both have positives and negatives. We'll start with the positives of both and go into the negatives. Starting with the soft bag. They tend to be more compact. They tend to be lighter. You can work with them a little better. They're not as touristy looking, because some people, that's an image that they really don't want, is these 60s looking hard top bags. So the look is usually more appealing than the hard cases. But in general, soft bags, for the most part, do the same thing as the hard bags. Hard bags, things positives for them is they're extremely sturdy. If you're carrying valuables, things that break easily in a hard bag, it's less likely to get smushed and broken. Also, because they're a hard seal, it's less likely if the bag gets damp that anything inside is going to get wet. You know, they tend to be a little more reliable in that respect. They all hold about the same, soft and hard. It's just a matter of preference. Negatives with a soft bag, it's obviously the opposite of the other one. So for a soft bag, one of the big negatives is it's cloth. 9 times out of 10 it's cloth. Sometimes you get leather, but 9 times out of 10 your soft bag is a cloth of some sort or a fiber mesh of some sort, which means it can be water resistant, but it's not really waterproof. It's certainly not as water resistant as a hard bag. That's the one big downside. 2, it's soft. So you put anything fragile in there, like glass, and say you're taking a flight and they toss your bag, there's a chance your stuff's going to get broken. It's just a part of the game. Soft bags, they're lighter, but they're also a little more touchy. Hard bags. Negatives of hard bags, they're really heavy. You're adding extra weight that you don't necessarily want. And if you're dealing with a flight, remember a lot of your airlines these days are weighing your bags. And if they're over a certain poundage, usually it's around 50 pounds, they charge you extra. So added weight can be a downside. Also, you'll look like you're out of the 60s carrying them. They're not really as common these days. A lot of people don't carry them. There are new fancier looking ones that look like they have steel titanium and whatever, and they're kind of swanky and cool. So that's better. You're getting away from that 60s look. But in general, they have that weird, that older look to them. Some people are really into it. For the record, people like retro stuff. So for them, it can be really cool. But it's just one of the common things that people whine about. Let's see. When I was talking about flights, I was talking about weight limits. Things to remember when you're packing. If you're flying, car is a little different. But if you're flying, say you can fit all your stuff into 2 bags. But you're allowed to take 4. Take 4. I know it sounds dumb, but take 4. Okay? Split a little bit into each bag if you have to. Take 4 if you can take 4. As many bags as you're allowed to take them. Because like I said, airline industries have a bad habit of charging weight when it comes to your bags. So if you're going somewhere touristy where you want to pick up a lot of cool things like t-shirts and magical castle things and I want this new kitchen set that I'm going to take with me rather than mail home. Yes, you want multiple bags. More bags the better, because you can spread out your souvenirs and spread out that weight a little more evenly so you don't get burned by an extra fee that they charge you before you can even get on your plane before you go home. So that's another thing. On that same note, say you overload on souvenirs, whether you're driving down or whether you're flying down, doesn't matter. If you overload on souvenirs, you can have them mail it to your home. It's expensive, but if you're in a situation you've got something bulky that needs to be sent home, that's helpful rather than trying to lug it onto a plane, or if you don't have room in your car, or if you're in a situation where, you've got a lot of stuff, you really don't have enough room in your bags, or even if you can get them in your bag's going to be overweight. Then you just got to sit down and decide what's more important to you. The charge at the airline for an overweight bag, or the charge of mailing it home. Typically, charge of mailing it home is going to be cheaper. And that's just a reality of life. So I would definitely recommend bringing as many bags as you can. Track down a scale if you can, just to weigh your bags, just to make sure they're all right. Because it's nothing worse than trying to get on a plane. They go, "Oh, your bag's too heavy. We need an extra $100." Well, you just blew all your money on souvenirs. That's why your bags are heavy. So you don't want that happening to you. All right. Things that nobody should ever buy at Walt Disney World. Okay. Deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, etc. Pepto-Bismol. Quick side story with that. Back in 2011, when my family went down to Disney, we drove down. We drove straight. And mind you, having a car driving down is awesome because, one, you have a car while you're there that you don't have to pay for. Two, you don't necessarily have to drive it if you don't want to because you got the transportation, but what you have is a built-in locker. So if you drive your car to Disney, to the parks, you got a locker essentially. You can step out of the park and drop something in if you got something cool. You don't want to send it through their delivery services. You've also got a place to store things as you're going through them while you're at the hotel. Say you go through a bunch of stuff and you're ready to put a bag of clothes into the suitcase, go for it. It's an option. It's something you can do to get it out of your room, get it out of your hair. But that's on a tangent. So back, like I said, 2011, we drove straight down. Just got about 3 o'clock in the morning. We just hauled-tailed it straight down to Florida. We got there a little later than we wanted to. I think we got there around 3-ish. Could have been like 12 or 1, but we stopped to eat and all that kind of stuff. Got to the park, got to the hotel, ate something. I was a mess, but the family wanted to go to Disney. So we went to Magic Kingdom. Had that great experience I talked about before in a previous episode of my son seeing the castle. It was just wonderful tears. Oh, it's so cute. Watched the closing show, watched the parade. Everybody was happy. Then we looked around at each other and all of us looked like zombies. That's right. The end of the world had come and we were ready to start eating brains. We decided to head back to the hotel. Like I said, we were all in bad shape. We were all tired. I was worse than everyone else, but whatever. We got back to the hotel. My daughter dropped off, went to sleep. Son, not long after. Middle of the night, she wakes up. She looks over at us, looks at the floor between the two beds, and pukes all over the floor. She looks up, that's a mess. Goes into the bathroom, grabs a towel, on top of the vomit, goes back to sleep. We wake up, a few hours later, ode de puke in the room. She felt like crap. Not just because she threw up all over the floor, which was gross, but she felt like garbage. Called the hotel, they said, no, not a problem, don't worry about cleaning it up. You guys go enjoy the parks, we'll clean it up while you're gone. That's another subject. They cleaned it up, but it was the gift that keeps on giving. Florida, moisture, shampooing carpets with vomit. Need I say more? So anyway, we go. We're coming out. I ran up to front to see if we had some because I didn't bring any Pepto-Bismol or anything that would be good for an upset stomach. So I had to buy it there. That was my first lesson about what you need to bring with you. Things you need to bring with you. And I don't remember the exact price, but I distinctly remembering thinking, wow, I could have bought like 4 bottles at home for the price I'm paying here. If I go into the dollar store, who knows, maybe I could have, gotten 10. I wouldn't $10, but it was extremely high. And the reason is it's like any other venue, Disney, all right? They know that people are going to need things on the fly. It's part of the game. They know people are going to need it. So they have it, and then they charge an arm and a leg for it because you need it, and they know you're going to need it. So I'll get back to that in a second. So things like Pepto-Bismol, very good to have. Even if you never need it, it's good to have. Women's hygiene products. I'm not saying more about this. I'm a guy. All right, I'm sorry. But you know what I'm talking about. You never know. Be ready. Extra clothing. Bring the clothing you need. This is an interesting point, and it's actually got 2 pieces to it, so I'm going to tangent off a little bit. Make sure you have the clothing you need for one, okay? You don't want to find yourself, oh crap, I forgot all my underwear, and then have to go to the gift shop to buy underwear. You can buy a full outfit at some of these gift shops, at some of these hotels, but at Disney's retail prices. You don't want to do that. If you've got a lot of money and you can burn it, more power to you. Go for it. But you don't want to do it. Now, if you want to buy them for souvenirs, that's different. That's something you're buying you want to keep as a memory. You don't want to have to buy clothing just to get through the week. So make sure you bring your clothing. Another note, while packing, think about what you bring. 90% of your hotels have some kind of a laundry facility on site. Disney hotels have the coin laundries on site. They also have laundry services, but that's a different subject too. Most of them have coin laundries. So if you're going to Disney, pack some quarters, man. Don't worry about bringing all the clothes you could possibly need. Bring like 3 days. If you're going to be there for a week, say you'd be there for 6 days. Bring 3 outfits. 4 outfits, maybe. And then just wash clothes at one point during the week. Yeah, it'll be a few bucks, but it saves on weight. Back to the flight situations. If you're flying, you want to cut down on weight, bring what you need and think in your head, okay, I will do laundry one night. Maybe the night I go to Animal Kingdom, when I got nothing to do after I'm done at Animal Kingdom, I'll go run some laundry and hit the pool. That's what I did last time. So I know it's a tangent, but think clothing. You don't want to bring too much. You don't want to not bring enough. Things like Advil, aspirin, Tylenol. Disney's almost like a hospital when it comes to these things, okay? You know, hospital's going to charge you like $200 for some ibuprofen. I know that's an exaggeration for those who work in the hospital industry, but you know what I mean. The charges can be really high. And again, Disney understands if you need Advil, aspirin, whatever you use for headaches or pain management, they're going to have it there, but it's going to be expensive. Sunscreen and aloe. You know, skincare. It's Florida. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. It's Florida. They're going to know you're going to need it. So the prices, again, are going to be high. Make sure you have them. Most of these items can be bought at different dollar type stores, like Dollar Tree, Dollar General, etc. So don't spend any more than you have to on them, but bring them with you, all right? Disney will offer things like small shampoos, small conditioners, hand soaps, and they will refill them daily if they see they're gone, because, you know, room service comes and takes care of your room. That's fantastic, but they're really small bottles. Okay, you might get 2 people with those things. 3 if you're really stingy. But I know for me, Florida water, people, it's an acquired taste. Okay? So when I'm taking a shower there, I'm using probably more soap and shampoo than I normally would to deal with the Florida water. Not to mention my own BO. So my recommendation is don't waste those small bottles. Go ahead and keep them. If you're frugal and you want to keep them, keep them. Put them in your bag. You're paying for them, guys. You booked the room. You're paying for it. So I would say put them in your bag. Keep them as souvenirs. They'll refill them every day. You can keep putting them in if you really want to. But bring your own stuff. Bring your own soap and shampoo and stuff that you're going to use. So that way, you know you have enough for everybody. I have a family of 4. That little bottle of shampoo is not going to make it. The bar of soap will, because it's really small. I mean, it's not really small, I shouldn't say, because it's really small. But it's small, but it's big enough for us to get through the week on. But, you know, the rest of the stuff, not so much. So I would keep them as souvenirs and go to the dollar store and pick up enough to get you through the week. It's just helpful. What I would recommend is do a packing list. I'm not going to show a packing list on this, but all you have to do is go to Google and put in packing list, travel packing list, or packing list for Walt Disney World, and there will be dozens of packing lists that will come up online that will basically have check sheets. Do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have this? Do I have that? Or you can make your own. What I would recommend, if you're going to do your own, is categorize it. You know, have like clothing section, toiletries, again, including things like soap, shampoo, conditioner, travel documents. So, you know, your reservation information, you know, have your insurance stuff together, anything that you might possibly need for your travels. If you're traveling overseas, obviously you would have your passports, plane tickets, all that kind of stuff. I would do another section for like medicine. So things like aspirin, or if you have a heart condition, maybe you're going to have your heart pills, or maybe you have your vitamins, you know, anything you put into a medicine bag. Comb. That's another thing you don't want to buy at Disney, unless you want a souvenir Disney comb. You don't want to do that. All right. They offer some things complimentary, but not much. So remember that. And then just any other sections that might cross your mind. You could be, maybe you want to put a section in there for park bags. Maybe you want to take a couple book bags that you can carry into the parks with odds and ends that you might need for the day. You might want to put in a section for, if you're driving, a section for car items. GPS, maps, flashlight, first aid kit, road kit in case something happens, etc. If you're making your own, just be organized about it. Make it a check sheet so that way you can make sure you have everything. Nothing worse than getting somewhere and going, oh crap, I forgot something. And then looking at Disney prices and goes, oh, there goes my souvenirs. I guess this new bottle of Pepto-Bismol is my souvenir for the trip. Yay. So just be organized. Another thing to think about while you're packing are things like muffins, snacks, bottled water. If you're doing a Disney dining plan, there's different levels of it. There's different things that come with it. The most common one that's used, and it's pretty much the most popular and the best value, is the second level of the Disney dining plan, where you get a quick service and a table service every day. Basically, you get a lunch and a dinner. You could use your meal on breakfast, but then you're going without something in the afternoon. So bring things like snacks, muffins, things you can eat for breakfast in the hotel. Or if you decide to eat breakfast somewhere, you can have those in your bag. Like I said, you can have a section talking about bringing a book bag or something to take into the parks, because you can bring food into the parks, people. Bring some snacks in with you into the parks, so that way you can get a quick thing on the go while you're, waiting in line for Fast Pass or something. Bring bottled waters. Now, this is an interesting thing. If you're flying, it makes it a little more complicated to bring cases of bottled water. But if you're driving, shoot, you can throw cases of bottled water in your car. My local grocery store that I go to, I can get a 32 pack of water for $2.97, as opposed to one bottle of water for like $5 or $6. So keep that in mind. You can bring bottles of water and throw them in your book bag. They're a sealed container. Tasting will be okay with it. For those that are flying, you're going, well, that's not going to help me. I'm flying. I can't ship water on a plane. No, you can't, but you can do this. There are online grocery vendors that work with Disney, where you can place an order for food, drinks, water, whatever, usually cases of different things. You can place it with them, and they'll deliver it to Disney. Not only that, but they'll ask for your room information. They'll deliver it to your room. So if you've got a mini fridge in your room, or a little kitchenette, or whatever, they'll deliver the stuff to your room so that you have food there. You don't necessarily have to tote it. Particularly if you're flying, that comes in handy. Driving, you've got room to carry stuff. But if you're flying, it might be worth it. Again, like I said, a case of water for $3 as opposed to a single bottle of water for like $6. Something to think about. And if that's something you're interested in, look into it. If you're having trouble finding it, let me know. I'll be happy to help you out. Just shoot me a message or leave a comment below with the YouTube or through Facebook, and I'll get that information for you. It's not a big deal. But either way, do it yourself or ordering stuff online, whatever direction you go, pack, shop, smart. Okay? I said earlier, Disney is a major venue location. It's like your coliseums, like your state fairs, any major attraction where all these things that they know you're going to need or want are kind of overpriced. Things you can get at home for far less. So be smart about it. If you can get it at home, bring it with you. Because it's nothing worse than having a series of bad things happen. You need aspirin, you need this, particularly if you get a sunburn. There's aspirin or Tylenol, there's your aloe, there's your sunscreen, all in one swoop. You might even have to buy a hat or sunglasses. Any of that mess, it becomes a huge bill that you didn't plan on before you went. And that can ruin a trip, particularly if you really, really wanted to get something and now you can't because you have to do the right thing and take care of your family. So if you can buy this stuff at home, think about what could happen and pack accordingly. There are travel size versions of these things at grocery stores, at dollar stores. So you don't have to buy a giant bottle of Pepto-Bismol. Get a small one. Just something in case something happens. I would bring like allergy medicine if you have anybody who has allergies in your family or in your traveling party. anything that you might possibly need, it's good to have. I know it sounds paranoid, but it's only paranoid until you get there and you realize, oh my goodness, I should have brought this. I've been down that road. We're not going down that road anymore. Right now we're driving this September, and we're bringing a medicine bag, and it's loaded down with everything we could possibly need as far as vitamins and all that mess, just in case, because we don't want to get caught in a situation where we might need it. So with that, that was my tips. There's a lot more, honestly. Like I said, I'm just barely touching on this subject. It's one of those things that's better to show people props and whatever, and really go dig into it. There are people that do this for a living that could spend hours talking about creative ways to pack, like using vacuums to suck out air out of bags so you can shrink down the size of your clothing and things of that nature. So it's really a broad topic. So if you have questions or you need suggestions, please feel free to comment or shoot me a message. Next week, we're going to talk about do-it-yourself versus travel agents. I figured since we've touched on this, I've touched on travel agents a couple times since I started, and I mentioned that I do this on the side with 3D travel. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the upsides and the downsides to both doing it yourself and to doing it through a travel agent. It's going to be very unbiased. I want you to make your decision on what you feel is best for you. Okay? So with that said, Walt said it best. I hope you never lose sight of one thing. This was all started by a mouse. Again, thank you for watching my video show here, and I'll see you guys next week.